Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to talk about a newly shown item at this year's Comic-Con, and this time we have the Strongman Build-A-Figure from the X-Force wave. So now, this is not a reveal of who the Build-A-Figure is going to be. We actually already knew this, and we did see a kind of rendering of the Build-A-Figure before at, I believe at San Diego Comic-Con, they showed the picture on the top left here. So we've seen that already. However, this is our first time seeing an in-person look at it, and kind of seeing what the final product is going to look like. So that's quite exciting. Now this is a wave that it still has yet to be kind of fully shown. They're showing a lot of Build-A-Figures at this convention. I've made a separate video talking about the Super Scroll as well as the Demo Goblin. So feel free to check that out. But now we're getting Strongman, and as far as the wave itself, so far we only know 3 figures in the wave, and they're at the bottom left there, which is Deadpool in his blue and gold type of costume, Warpath, as well as Sunspot. So the wave itself, so far what I think of it is, for me personally, this is not shaping up to be a great wave. Just for me personally, based on the characters that I kind of enjoy, this wave does not hit many of the points that I'm kind of into. I don't know much about Strongman, nor does his look interest me much. He looks a little goofy, a little cartoony, and not particularly cool. He looks like a big baby, just in my opinion. But yeah, so overall, I'm not too super excited for this character. However, this is very much a Build-A-Figure style figure, which is something that I think was lacking in the other 2 reveals, being Super Scroll and Demo Goblin. Those, for me personally, totally hit me as far as like the character mark. I'm a big fan of those characters, so and the figures themselves look really good. However, they just do not feel like Build-A-Figures to me. Like, those figures feel like they could be just a part of the wave itself. However, with Strongman here, or Strong Guy, I think that he definitely looks like a big character who deserves to be a Build-A-Figure. He has that Build-A-Figure type of look to him because he's pretty large, and his arms look really cool. I must say, he just looks super bulky. It looks like a fun figure because it's oddly proportioned, which is something that we don't get very much, because we certainly had figures that are very bulky in the past. However, the bulkiness is usually proportionate throughout the entire figure, but what makes him pretty interesting is that his torso, or the top portion of his torso, and his arms are huge, but then he's got, like, his legs are still strong, but they're not like anything like his arms. So I kind of like that styled look, and I think that it could make for some really cool pictures. But personally, just character-wise, again, I'm not too into him, unfortunately. And then as far as the first 3 figures that they've shown for the wave, the Deadpool, I just, that's a costume that is somewhat classic for Deadpool. Like, it's certainly very recognizable. I think that we've all seen that type of look. But for me, it's just not a costume that I particularly like or particularly have any kind of fondness for. Warpath and Sunspot are characters I've never been too big of a fan of, and particularly with Sunspot, I think that he looks really weird. I've actually never seen that version of Sunspot before, where he has those colors. Obviously, it must have been when he was a part of the X-Force team, and they kind of had a little bit more of matching uniforms, because him and Warpath really match together. But he looks really odd. I'm not a fan of that design personally, and it doesn't excite me really at all. The Warpath, I think that he looks decent, but he's not a character that I'm particularly fond of. So just for me, this wave is not shaping up to be one that I'm personally loving. However, if you're a fan of these characters and these costumes, I think that this is a great wave for you. And the Build-A-Figure itself does look like it's worthy of being a Build-A-Figure, which is something that the Spider-Man as well as Fantastic Four waves kind of lack, in my opinion. So I think that this wave is going to be specific to certain people. However, those certain people will really love it. So there's my thoughts. Again, like, I don't plan to build the Build-A-Figure just because I don't really need him, nor do I really like the first 3 figures that have been shown. Now, who knows, like, maybe the next 3 figures that they show are just ideal ones for me, and I'll be all for them, and then I'll end up being like, well, I'm buying half the wave anyway, so I might as well build him. But for right now, I doubt that's going to happen. So yeah. The one thing I will say, though, just comparing the in-person shot versus the kind of design or the concept art almost is the fact that the paint is a little different, particularly with the eyes, like kind of the goggles have a red effect, or it looks like it's a red effect on the in-person image, which I think does look cool. I'm not quite sure which one's a little more accurate though. But the one thing I don't like about the in-person one compared to the prototype, or the prototype kind of rendering, is the fact that his zipper here is just yellow like his costume. However, on the rendering, it is actually silver. It looks a little bit more like his zipper, and it pops a little bit more. So hopefully that will be better in person. But if it is still just yellow in person, that will be disappointing. And I also say that the X on the suit is very different. Very thin on the rendering, very bulky on the in-person. Again, neither one looks bad or anything. It's just I don't know which one's a little more accurate. It might just be kind of however he's particularly drawn. Depends on the X size. But overall, there is a big difference on the X size between those two images. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this Build-A-Figure, and thanks so much for watching.